everyone's searching to be someone, everyone's looking to be someone, everyone's going out of their way to be someone. So basically everyone's looking for status, you know? Everyone's looking for a better job, a better education, you know, a better way of life. So it's all about status.
We look for rewards in terms of promotion, in terms of money, in terms of buying a nicer house. For most of us, the reward we really want is attention.
It's terribly boring to be ignored. And I think this is part of the joy and part of the game of contemporary life, isn't it? We're constantly classing others and constantly judging others. And once you start being aware that gestures have meaning, objects mean things, there's no escaping it.
I want to explore how those anxieties affect almost every aspect of our everyday lives. We worry about being made redundant and how it will affect the way others see us. We worry about being passed over for promotion. We worry about being kept waiting. We worry about our colleagues and even close friends doing better than us. Of course, what gives a person status in a given society keeps changing. Throughout history, people have been awarded high status for a wide variety of things. In ancient Sparta, to have high status, you needed to be warlike, aggressive, bisexual, and good at spearing enemies. Among the Inuit, the highest status people were those who could harpoon fish and seals. In 18th century Britain, you needed landed wealth, horses, a languid elegance, and a polished after-dinner dancing technique, whilst in the 21st century, it's fashion, business, sport, or all three.
Though the way that high status is earned may have changed throughout history, the consequences of high status are familiar from really any time or society, and they come down to being treated well, to being treated with respect, and even you could say a kind of love. Just as romantic lovers will enjoy the care and attention of those who love them, so too those with high status will enjoy the care and attention of the world. It's common to assume that the worst thing about low-paid work is the money, just as the money is the best thing about highly paid work. But there's another way of looking at the issue, a way that puts status at the heart of the subject. One could argue that what makes low-paid work really distasteful is the way that one is treated. It isn't the money per se, it's the lack of status involved.
Many low-paid jobs leave us treated as if we didn't properly exist. No one cares who we are and what we think. We're machines for performing a simple task, not humans with as rich and as complex an identity as anyone in a boardroom. Conversely, part of what keeps people working, even once they've made a lot of money, is the respect they receive from others. They're looked up to, esteemed, and sometimes photographed on their way to the shops. Strada is a chain of restaurants owned by a 30-something multimillionaire, Luke Johnson, who made his fortune selling a chain of pizza restaurants. Luke could have retired a long time ago, but he decided to keep working.
I think we are all, in a way, trying to prove ourselves to some audience or another. I remember once reading a survey amongst businessmen, or business people, men and women, and it was trying to tap into the motivations as to why they were in business and why they continue to strive for success even after they've achieved a certain amount. And the single phrase that summed it up in a very short sense was, "I'll show them." And I think an awful lot of people, perhaps in their past, have a school teacher who put them down, or perhaps a parent who said, "You'll never amount to anything," someone who criticised them or didn't believe in their potential. So I think for a lot of people, it's about proving the skeptics wrong.
One of the people who first analysed how we often want money for the status it gives us more than anything else was the great Scottish philosopher Adam Smith. There's a revealing passage in his book, The Wealth of Nations, where he bluntly asks what the rat race is all about.
What is all the toil and bustle for? What are people aiming at with their ambitions and their frenzied pursuits of wealth, power, and preeminence? Are they looking to supply their basic needs? No. The wages of the poorest laborer can supply those. What then are they after? They want to be treated well. They want to be attended to be taken notice of with sympathy, kindness, and approval.
One of the things that makes Adam Smith such a central figure in the history of his subject is his analysis of the reasons why people are accumulating wealth, and his emphasis on the fact that they're doing this because they want dignity and respect, not just fancier clothes or bigger houses.
Jean. How can I forget? How are you? This is Alina.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jean.
What was the name of the guy who had one eye?
Oh,
Boddington.
Few things trigger status anxiety more powerfully than school reunions. This is Haywards Heath School. People gathering here left 30 years ago. It can be agonizing to compare ourselves to people who were once our equals. More specifically, to have to hear of their success. Plenty would agree with Gore Vidal's line, "Every time a friend of mine succeeds, a small part of me dies."
Why did I dress like this? Why didn't I come in jeans like it was this afternoon? Why didn't I wear clothes that were much more relaxed, or even maybe a t-shirt with some political statement on it? And that is very interesting to me, and I think there's a certain status. If I dress well, then chances are people are going to see me maybe as a more successful, or at least they're going to see me as somebody who is at least reasonably clean-shaven, looks after himself, and has some basic manners.
Why do we care so much about having status? Perhaps because our self-esteem is so dependent on the esteem in which we're held in by others. It's as if we suffer from a congenital uncertainty as to our value, growing confident in ourselves when others value us, and losing confidence in ourselves when we're ignored. The great American philosopher and psychologist William James went so far as to suggest that if we were completely ignored by everyone we came across, it would feel worse than being tortured.
Whilst writing his book, The Principles of Psychology, at Harvard in 1890, James got many of his insights from simply interrogating himself. He noticed how differently he felt on days when he'd been greeted warmly and admired by people, and days when he was ignored and on his own.
What really impressed William James was just how much the views of others influence our sense of ourselves. It seems as if our whole identity is held captive by the judgments that people around us have of us. If they laugh at our jokes, we develop a sense that we're funny. If they praise us, we develop an impression of high merit. But if they ignore us when we walk into a room or lose interest in us after we've revealed our occupation, we're liable to fall into feelings of self-doubt and worthlessness.